Hey Debajit, welcome to the All Walks of Life podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on. I've been so intrigued by, especially the work you are doing in terms of
Mhm.
ancient India, ancient Egypt as well. And I've
Yeah,
been fascinated by it ever since I've been started reading your blog, but even other people start discussing it. So, yeah, can you let us know about the sort of work you are doing and about yourself, really?
yeah. So the blog is actually not of mine actually. I write this blog on behalf of one person. His name is Mr. Prasad Mahabal. So he is a IIT sector employee, and he mainly insisted and gave this ad about writing blogs in 2016. That time I was in my master's first semester. So I contacted him, and he told me and taught me how to write a blog, which kinds of things we should uh, focus while writing. And I have an genuine interest in Egypt, and that is why also I came in archaeology, because from my childhood days I have an interest here. So he actually taught me how to write the blog, and I started writing mainly on the gods and goddesses, mainly the religious area or the religious pantheon about ancient Egypt. And then I started writing about the other things also, like the pyramids, mainly the funerary system or the funerary beliefs. And also I just started writing about the recent discoveries. I, uh, I read the news articles about these topics, and also I refer some books. I have one book in physical. It is in physical copy. It is in my home, and another books I have downloaded and collected in PDFs about ancient Egypt. There are lots of books, but I collected a few for this time, because in terms of academic work, I am doing work in mainly Indian archaeology. So in case of ancient Egypt, the blog is not very much informative. I do not say it is not very much detailed. It is mainly written for the school children, and mainly for in easy language, that they can enjoy the writing and they can understand. Okay, this is this. So this is the way I write the blog, and yeah, it is like written within 500 to 1000 words, and I try to
Yeah.
give the relevant pictures along with the writing, and also the headings and subheadings, so that people can understand what I am writing. And apart from that, I am currently doing my MPhil in archaeology. So before that, I also did my masters and masters in archaeology and BA in history. So that is the work I am doing. Not very much, not very much detailed, I can say, and that is why I really want to express my immense gratitude to you for inviting me and for giving me this chance to sharing my experience or my knowledge, whatever I have.
No, I think it's so important because however much you know about ancient Egypt, and I feel it's such an interesting thing to talk about. And if you are writing it in an accessible way and targeting it for, let's say, if the people who are just coming in and wanting to know about ancient Egypt, or even kids for that matter, I think it's a great medium if you can package it in that way. But Debaji, just tell me something like what is it about ancient Egypt that makes us the both of us so curious, that makes us want to explore that particular civilization. What do you think it is in specific about ancient Egypt?
I would like to take one comparison with ancient Egypt for making this discussion more fruitful. Like, say, for example, Indus Valley civilization. The timing of Indus Valley civilization, in many terms, or in terms of technologies, there are many advancement in Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization, whichever we can say. But the problem with the Harappan civilization is that the script is not till deciphered, and that is why we know much more about Harappan civilization. But there is a lot of assumptions in many aspects, because we cannot be so certain about some specific things about Indus Valley civilization. And here goes the benefit to the Egyptian civilization, because it is also so much older. And the good point is that they did a proper documentation. And another good point is that with the discovery of Rosetta Stone, the Egyptian hieroglyphs has been successfully deciphered. And another thing is the preservation capacity of the environment of Egypt, because it is a desert area. And this is the reason why uh, every time there are new excavations and new findings, because everything is under the sand, and they can just like, once they just discover it or explore a specific clue, they can excavate it and they can recover it. So this is one of the reasons ancient Egypt has the benefit, ancient Egyptian study. And with almost every artifact that is discovered from the Egyptian sites, um, a small if, or even a small fragment of hieroglyphic writing is there. It may be on the pottery, it may be on the burial chamber, it may be on the stone slabs or anything. And the name of the owner or the purpose of that specific artifact, that is really what I can say, that is really easy to interpret. And this is the reason why we have a very clear cut understanding about many aspects of ancient Egyptian civilization or the Mesopotamian civilization also. But in case of Harappan civilization, we have so much information, but many of them are assumption, like we cannot be certain. So I think here is one reason why people are interested, or become, or people have been a genuine interest towards the study of the ancient Egypt. And another thing I think, the pyramids of Egypt. Like, in my childhood also, I was fascinated mainly by the pyramid only. But later I came to know that apart from the pyramids, there are much more about ancient Egypt. So I think this is good, and this is somehow has been created a kind of, I cannot say it is a hype, but it is a good marketing or a good promotion of the ancient Egyptian pyramids. And with the like, mainly the people who started working on ancient Egypt, they were not archaeologists. They were
Yeah.
mainly engineers, and they were mainly army generals. So that time, they really the philosophy of ancient history study or archaeological study was mainly that time based on the antiquarian study, and it was only just like collecting the artifacts and preserving it on in museum. So that time they find so many, they started finding so many artifacts and sites and pyramids and burial chambers, etc. And somehow it got popularized. Somehow it got, in case of Mesopotamian and Indus Valley civilization also, it got popularized. But I have already said about the problem about the Harappan civilization. So these are some of the reasons I can say that people like me, or like you have all, you are also saying that ancient Egypt, there is something like, also people say, and we all know about the pyramids from our childhood days. So these are some of the reasons, and I also got fascinated with that and started with that.
So there are so many things I'd like to pick on over here because it's just so
Hmm.
fascinating in that sense. But something you touched upon there was this aspect of scripts and this aspect of documentation. And I think I was listening to a podcast, and I think it was John Anthony West or Robert Schoch, one of the people who've actually done like a lot of work in ancient Egypt, and great credit to them. So they were saying that, as you mentioned with the Rosetta Stone, they are one of the few civilization who actually believed a lot in writing whatever their manuscripts were on stone or on carvings almost, which can be later preserved through time. Like as you pointed out, like if you look at other civilizations, maybe the knowledge they had, maybe the writings, the paintings, whatever they had, may just get lost because of time, because of obviously so many things. But if there's something, if you're preserving it in stone, in carvings like that, I mean, it may not be. So, what do you think? Was that the primary reason for those writings on stones and on walls, or was there something more to that?
Uh, well, if I take the major civilizations like these three, the Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Harappan civilization, so it is not that everywhere, like as per my knowledge till now, it is not that everywhere there were scarcity of stones. Like stones were almost available, like different kinds of stones. They are available in these geographical regions of these civilizations. In case of Egypt and in case of Mesopotamia, yeah, there is a tendency of carving on these stones,
Hmm.
like the inscriptions. It is more in that part of the world. But in case of Indus Valley, if I see, there are also carvings on pottery like the Indus script, and also in the terracotta plaques, or in the seals and ceilings, etc. And it may be that, just I am just giving an assumption, because it is all dependent on the environmental factors. Because as you know that in Egyptian geography and the Middle Eastern geography, there is a chance of preservation. There is a great chance of preservation even in Europe, and that is why from Europe the prehistoric studies are more rich, because there is a great chance of preservation there, the skeletal remains or the fossil remains. And this is same also in Egypt, because in Egypt also the earliest hominin fossils, so many hominin fossils have been recovered, and also from Africa. So I there can be an assumption, according to me, or this also can be studied in future. Maybe in Harappan civilization, the people used to write more on terracotta plaques, or on the perishable materials mostly, and that somehow lost. But in Egyptian civilization or Mesopotamia, somehow they also wrote in the perishable material, or also wrote in the stones or the stone materials. So there may be a reason, but it is not so much simple, in which way I am saying.
Yeah.
There is a scope of research, and people are doing to find this. Because in India, from the Ashokan time,
Hmm.
from fourth to third century BC, the writing on stone, it really got a high degree of attention, because Ashoka himself popularized the Brahmi script through his edicts, and mostly they were written on, they were carved on stones, on stone pillars and on stones. So I think it is not that in India carving on stone, like the scripts, that was not there. It may be that it can be still discovered, or maybe that they use perishable material most. So with the further research in the future, it can be revealed much more accurately.
Why do you feel like when we look at some of the carvings that are done in terms of ancient Egypt and the drawings they have, the paintings they have, the work they have, it sort of draws our attention because let's say with aspects of having animal heads on people's, on pharaohs, on other of these manuscripts, on ancient Egyptian gods as well. Like, what is behind that? Have you uncovered that side of ancient Egypt? Like, why were
Yes,
they so fascinated by particular animals?
yes. So it is not only for Egypt. Actually, you can find it almost in all civilizations in the world, and not in ancient, but in the present civilization, like in the present scenario also. So these are some of the religious beliefs, like people believe in that, and mainly the assimilation of a human body or a human head with an animal body or animal head. It it mainly has the symbolic value.
Hmm.
For example, like if I take for Egypt, so in Egypt there is the I think one god is there is vulture god. I cannot really remember the name right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
name of the vulture is related, because like vulture is a great bird. Like in the bird species, it is in case of size, it is a big size bird, and it is somehow a dominating bird over other birds. So they actually try to somehow show that particular god a dominating god over the other gods and goddesses. So they associated somehow these two creatures, a human and that vulture and associated them. In case of India, you can also find these kinds
Mm.
of assimilative assimilative representations of gods and goddesses with the animals, and also there may have been some representations of two or three gods and goddesses all together. So these all, I think, mainly are some have some symbolic value. Practically, like, it really cannot be possible. Like, we cannot say
Of
till
course,
now
of
that,
course. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So practically, we don't get any evidence of like that this type of creature was there. Like in Harappan civilization, there is a creature unicorn. Okay, so from the excavations, lot of bones have been recovered of other animals, but no that kind of unicorn bone. But unicorn is depicted almost everywhere in Harappan civilization. Apart from that, bull is also depicted, and the skeletal remains of bull, the bones of bull have been recovered, but no unicorn, um, specifically unicorn bones. So these are these are the examples of the symbolic value, and not only the symbolic value, they mainly use this symbolic value in their social and other aspects of lives.
Yeah. Do you feel on a symbolic level it almost gives them, like as you mentioned in terms of India as well, we have these gods with, let's say, animal faces or whatnot. Do you feel it gives them like this sense of I don't know, like this some sort of myth that they can then start associating with it. Like we almost like how we have it in Indian culture, that for example is taken in consideration of Ganesh. So it almost becomes a god, and then there are myths which are created out of it, and it teaches generations coming by it. So you feel that that's the same essence that we're looking at with the ancient Egyptians there.
Yes, yes. Like, it is almost there in every civilizations. Like, they mainly like, for, if I can give you an example from India, in the Gupta time, the Varaha avatar of Sri Krishna, that is the boar avatar. So it was the royal emblem of the Gupta dynasty. So they mainly use it, and many times, like kings, mainly in Egypt, pharaohs, they mainly use this to legitimate their rule over the mass, because
Hmm.
legitimizing rule is not easy. Like, if you just come out of nowhere and say, I will rule you, so how can
Yeah.
people will
Yeah.
believe?
Yeah.
So they mainly use this the religious aspects and try to connect them, and also worship and also patronize the monks and other religious persons who are associated with that. And I think the legitimization is more important, and also binding the people and getting their support. So these are some of the reasons they use.
Yeah, that's fascinating how because like it's almost like we feel that we are probably the most advanced civilization, but when you actually like the work you're doing, when you read about these historical aspects, these historical civilizations, you actually you understand how advanced they were, not only with the structures they were building with the pyramids and things, which we will get into, I feel, because that's so interesting,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
also aspects like this of how they would create something that's artistic in that sense of creating let's say human bodies with animal faces or whatnot, to have a symbolic value, to have something that would help them in governance, to help them in society in that sense.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to ask you was that, because this is a very hotly debated topic, I think, in archaeology in particular,
Hmm. Hmm.
is this aspect of Egyptology versus the modern day archaeologists who are coming in, and it's in
Hmm.
relation to, I think, the Sphinx. And so there's one theory, I think it's called, I think it's propagated by Robert Schoch. So he said there was a water erosion theory about the Sphinx,
Hmm.
and then there's
Yeah.
another, and then the Egyptologists believe that that's not correct, and it was built by one of the pharaohs or something. Can you throw light on that?
Yeah, like, I also I didn't read so much about it, but I have also heard. So I cannot remember the name. So there is some geologist who is from
Yeah, Robert Schoch.
United
Yeah,
States. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the name you are saying. So he, I think, did some work over 2 decades or more than that, and he somehow provided this theory that, and he also gave some proofs that the markings on the Sphinx, they are the result of the water erosion, and
Mm,
in
mm,
Sahara area, the rainfall was there be- before 10,000 BC. So how
yeah.
can we really relate with that? So this actually scientifically say, like from the view of the scientists who have done this work, uh, he may be right, like his theory or his scientific experiments, and we cannot really refute this theory. But the thing is that the conventional Egyptologists and the modern day archaeologists, they should sit together and they
Yeah,
should
yeah.
correlate with the facts and figures. Like this same problem is there in India, like
Mm,
versus
mm,
Indology and the archaeology, because the modern archaeology, it is more science based. Like in modern archaeology, for example, we as a human being started making stone tool lakhs of years
yeah,
ago. But
yeah.
when we find a stone tool from an excavation, we really do not know what purpose it actually had, because we can say from our present mind that it can be used for scraping, or it can be used for cutting. So we cannot be certain about that. We are just assuming on the basis of our present understanding. So the modern day archaeology specific analysis came. It is micro age analysis. So what they basically do, they analyze the particles of the materials which have been used along with that specific stone tool, and they can really say that it can be used for scraping or it can be used for cutting. So this kind of evidences are coming, and like it can actually change the whole
Exactly.
understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
I
think,
want to,
yeah,
yeah,
go
you
on.
can, yeah, I want to give
Yeah.
you another example. I just um, uh, it just came to my mind. So in Gujarat area, in Gujarat, yeah, in Rajasthan area, sorry, in Rajasthan area in India. So there was exactly, I think it was the upper Paleolithic or middle Paleolithic a site. I can't remember the name of the site. Yeah, it was Bagor. Bagor is a famous site. So it is Mesolithic, not Upper Paleolithic. Sorry. So when first excavation was initiated there, so uh, the excavator gave a theory that the most of the microliths, microlithic tools, they are made out of the chert. Okay, and chert was available in the vicinity of that area. So
Hmm.
the excavator concluded that okay, so people collected from the vicinity, they collected the stone and manufactured it. But after that, some archaeologist recently, he again analyzed the stone tool assemblage, the microlithic assemblage, and what he found is that most of the finished tools are of Chalcedony, and Chalcedony was not available there. So Chalcedony is available in the Deccan area of in the southern part. So people really, like in the after the monsoon, when it was winter, so people migrated from Bagor to the Deccan area, and they have some correlation or understanding with the people of Deccan area, and they collected the Chalcedony and use that. So this is how the total interpretation got changed about the Bagor and their Mesolithic, microlithic tool use. So I think the both should, the modern technology, scientific technology, and the conventional idea, that should be correlated, and that is the way it can be sorted. Otherwise, these groups say that we are right, and another group
Yeah,
say that
yeah.
they are right. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you feel that happens though? Do you feel it's because of these agendas that these groups hold? So we're talking about Egyptologists, you're talking about Indologists also. Like they feel that if they, I think some of them even understand what the Egyptologists are saying and they probably know that they're right, but they will not accept their viewpoint because they know that if they do, it totally changes the way they've been teaching Egyptology or Indiology for so many years. And that's what I think you're probably you're studying archaeology, so you probably know better, more than me in this aspect, that like even what are being taught in our archaeology programs is that whole conventional thing, because they don't want to move away from to entertain new ideas. I don't know if you know the name of Graham Hancock, so he talks a lot about
Yeah.
this aspect. So yeah, that's so interesting, because I would rather say that we would rather investigate what's actually true than sticking to what we've been teaching for so many years. It's yeah, it's such a what can I say? So there were several things I wanted to touch upon, and one of the things you touched upon was obviously the whole aspect of ancient India. There are so many things to cover there, but just sticking on ancient Egypt in that sense, what do you think? How do you think that they built the pyramids? Like, do you have a theory on that? Is there a particular theory you find more sensible than others? Because the theory about the pyramids are like they're all over the place. Some people even believe that aliens came down and made it.
Hmm, hmm.
So, so is there a particular theory that you feel has a stronghold here?
Yeah. So the first thing I would like to say that whoever built the pyramids or Egypt or the medieval temples of India or the pyramids of Latin America also, because
Yeah,
pyramids are
yeah.
not only about Egypt. That is another
I think it's in
misconception.
it's in it's in Peru also, right? I
Peru.
think
Yeah,
Peru.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's another one. Yeah.
In Peru. So, first of all, these are some of the best examples of ancient architecture and also the technology. Because in case of India, if you can see the temples, they are cutting, they are placing, and the geometry involved with
Oh, it's
them, even
perfect.
in
Yeah, it's so
pyramids
good. Yeah.
also. First thing is that it is no doubt that these are the some of the best examples of architecture and technology. And the second thing is that mainly in human conception, which I have came across with some of the articles, that there is a tendency when we actually do not find like the exact reason, so we mainly attribute them to the powers or to the realms we are not associated or that are beyond us. So this is how this ancient aliens theory came up, I think, because I also used to watch used to watch that ancient alien. It is in the History Channel in my childhood days, and there was a theory in case of Egypt. I can say below the Sphinx there is a, I think, one
Yeah, yeah.
relief
There's like
survey.
a yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there is one round is just represented with two sphinx. So in the ancient aliens theory, they told that it mainly is UFO and all that. But I watched another episode on History Channel also. Like on the same channel, I watched another episode on that particular aspect through an eye-open Egyptologist. So he very finely gave the proof that it mainly represents the solar cult, because the solar cult of Heliopolis, it was very much dominated in the religious pantheon of ancient Egypt, mainly the solar deities, because there are different types of the different kinds of origin theory in ancient Egyptian religion. So this was one dominating theory, and that may be represented here. So I can say that like assumption is very much easy, but true experimental study or true scientific study is more difficult. So in case of proper understanding or to know the real truth, I think we should go for the proper experimental study or the proper scientific analysis. Yeah, we can assume, no one can stop us, like if we assume that someone
Yeah.
some other people built it. And in case of pyramids, yeah, there are many theories, but like even the Egyptologists, they also say that they cannot say with a 100% certainty, yes, this technique was used, because like the huge amount of not only labor but huge amount of understanding or great understanding of geometry that was needed. And the pyramids are like, in case of Great Pyramid of Giza, it is
Yeah.
not a small, tiny architectural specimen. Like it is big, very much big. So placing them, it is not that it was impossible, but yes, proper scientific study can reveal. Like in case of Sphinx, it
Hmm.
it has been revealed that it may be of water erosion, the marks. So yes, I think this contradiction between the what I can say, the conspiracy theories. Mainly, these are the conspiracy theories, and the traditional theories is there, and I also think it will be there in the future also. But
Yeah.
as I am from academia background, and I read about the techniques, how we can study archaeology or ancient history. So I can say that more scientific analysis is needed, and in case of the traditional archaeologists in India, they are Indologists, or in Egypt, they are Egyptologists. They should also correlate with the
Yeah.
modern day scientists or modern day archaeologists, and that is the only way we can really find the truth of how the pyramids have been built, or even how the great temple of Brihadishwara temple of Tanjavur
Hmm.
in India has
Hmm.
been
Hmm.
built. So these are some of the way we can really rely on. We should rely on these ways.
So, in terms of ancient Egypt, do you feel you touched upon the solar theory? I'm not sure if I'm talking about the same one, but isn't there one particular theory that says that the ancient Egyptians looked at the sun and its revelations, and they found out an exact particular time which happens 1 in 72 years or something, and through that they basically modeled something. I'm not sure if I'm getting it totally wrong, but the essence I'm trying to put forward here is that do you feel that there was some sort of technology that they made use of that we still haven't, let's say, discovered, or we still haven't made optimal use of, be it geometry, be it astronomy, whatever, astrophysics? Like, do you think there is something to that?
I would like to say that the theory which you have just mentioned, I have also not read about that. So I will try to read it, and then I'll obviously discuss with you.
I
And
would recommend, because you're so
okay.
fascinated by
Hmm,
ancient
hmm.
Egypt, that there's this there are two or three podcasts that
Okay.
the Joe Rogan has with John Anthony West and Robert Schoch, and I would really recommend it because you are so like deep into this conversation. I think you'd really love it. So yeah, that's where I picked most of the stuff up from. So yeah, but yeah, go on, go on.
Sure. So, and the other thing you have said, or you have mentioned about, it is mostly on the lost technology, like you want to say, I think. So yeah, it can be happen, because even till now, with the so much advancement in the study of archaeology or ancient history, we have not be able to recover everything of the past. So it
Yeah,
may be
yeah,
that there were some advanced technology, like this division which we have made, the ancient, medieval, and modern. Like it is not that the ancient was so much primitive. Like even in the Harappan
hmm.
civilization, there was so much uh, sophisticated drainage system. Like even in today's city of India, the drainage system is so much bad, but
Yeah, yeah,
4,000 years ago, the drainage system was so much good. So yes, there is possibility that the technologies have been somehow lost. Like if we take the example of today, like today we also use paper, and like even in this digital age, we also write and document things on paper most. So paper may have been also used, not the paper, but paper like perishable material, like it can be leaf, or in Egypt it is the papyrus. Okay. So this can be lost because of the environment, but in Egypt I have mentioned the benefit of the environment. Even the papyrus we have also discovered, like so much papyrus have been discovered intact, not very much damaged. But in case of India also, there is a problem that even if there was any technology or that was documented in on perishable material, that has been totally lost. So yes, this is actually known as missing link in the study
yeah.
of ancient history or archaeology, even in the study of fossils of our ancestors. there are many missing links. We till now we cannot like establish or connect them. We are like prehistorians and archaeologists have been doing work on this field. So this missing link, I I believe that it will not be totally connected even in future also, because some things I think they have totally lost. We cannot recover them, but we can use the use our scientific technologies and at an optimum level, and try to understand how, at a level like it is within our control.
Yeah.
So this is the way we can actually do, because the study of past is like all is so fragile, like there is no certainty. Even in the historical study, if a historian write about in an event, so it can be a biased writing also, because
Yeah, of
he
course, of
may
course.
impose his or her own view. So in archaeological study also we find an artifact,
Similar. Yeah.
so that its actual purpose, we cannot 100% say that it was used for that. So with the advancement of further study, the missing links can be as possible as it can be connected or it can be
Hmm.
fulfilled.
Devaji, I think you've touched upon like a really great point there. Like, I think you talked about this aspect that in the day and age we live in right now, like most of the stuff we write down on still on paper, or it's stored on our, let's say, laptops, on these drives on the internet.
Mm.
And I think I was listening to someone talk about it, that maybe the ancient Egyptians and whichever civilization we are talking about, were advanced in the way that they knew that maybe the things we write down on paper, or whatever aspect, may get lost over time. And that's why the more crucial aspects, like you talked about the Rosetta Stone or so many other carvings all around the world, are still ingrained on, let's say, stone or monuments or scriptures that can, let's say, hold the test of time and can be preserved over longer durations of time. So do you feel there is this essence that, because who is to say we as a civilization won't go extinct once, right? Like it may so well be that there's an asteroid that hits us, or there's something that bad that happens, and all the knowledge that we sort of have right now gets lost as well for the next generations to have. So do you feel that it is the best way to, let's say, for us as a civilization to adopt some of these principles that the ancient civilizations are talking about?
Yes. So if I say, like, according to me, the ancient people, they were far beyond far more advanced in terms of intellectual ability
Yeah, yeah,
than the people we are referring us as modern right now.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
for example, if we just say that after 1,000 years this civilization will lost,
yeah.
then most of the documents of this civilization will be lost because they are
Exactly.
digital.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but in case of ancient Egypt or ancient other civilizations, mostly they use the stones, and we can like find the stone now or after 1,000 years or after 2,000 years also. So yes, there may be a understanding, or it may be also this reason that it is true that no digital technologies was there even in the ancient time, and they have no option, and they started using the stones. Or there can be also another thing, that they first started perishable material using, and somehow
mm,
they realized that it cannot be survived so long, so they did this. And in case of ancient Egypt, ancient civilizations, or in ancient Egypt, there is a tendency, we can see that they have a tendency of preservation everything, because the concept of pyramid or the concept of burial chambers, it was also mainly established to preserve the afterlife of that particular person. Like we mainly know about the pyramids of the pharaohs, but even there are burial chambers for the common people also. And you can surprise, like there is a blog, like I have also written about, there is a discovery recently last year, so I'll send you the link, I have write on
yeah,
that. So
mm,
one burial has been found So
You
mainly,
can share it right now if you have it right now, but that's okay. You can send it later also. That's okay.
I
Yeah.
don't have it right now, so I will share you.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So can I just
You can
uh,
share your screen if that's okay. If you
yeah,
want,
yeah, I
if
can
there's
share
anything
my
you want to
screen.
show.
Yeah, sure.
Because then it'll be good
One,
for the viewers as well who are watching,
yes,
and we
yes,
can,
yes.
if we are talking about certain things, we can instantly easily look at them.
Just a minute. I can. So it is actually a discovery of a burial sarcophagus. So
Yeah.
I'm just showing you 1 minute.
Yep.
So hieroglyphics is written there, but it has no meaning. So, and there is a reason why that hieroglyphic writing has no meaning. So I will be sharing
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. It is taking some time. Yeah, just a minute. So it is the main home page of
Right.
this
If you
blog.
want, if you want me to share it, I can do so. If you want to put the link in the chat, I can open it up if it's taking time
Yes,
on your side.
no, I am
Whatever
just,
works.
yeah, it is loading. It will be done. 1 minute. Yeah, it came. Yeah, so this article, this one. So yeah, it was in October 2019, 2018. Sorry, the discovery was of 2018. So what they found the burial that have a hieroglyphic writing. Okay, in the Saqqara region of ancient Egypt. So you can see this hieroglyphic writing in this.
I can't see your screen. Are you sharing it?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So I
There,
have to share now.
there's
Yeah,
a share
okay.
screen. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So now you can see. Can you see?
Once it's just taking a second to load up. 1 second.
Just a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Yes.
It's just taking a second to load up. 1 second.
Yeah, you can see now. Now.
Uh, 1 second. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
So it is the main like heading of the article: a strange Egyptian burial with nonsense hieroglyphics. So why it
Okay.
is nonsense? Like it is the mummies or the burials. Many burials
Yeah,
have been found there in the Saqqara region. So you can see a hieroglyphic writing on the sarcophagus. So
yeah.
this hieroglyphic writing has no meaning, and why it happened. So this sarcophagus and the mummy behind that, it is a mummy of a common man, common Egyptian. So it what Egyptologists have interpreted it, that all people really didn't know how to write hieroglyphics at all. It might be happened in ancient Egypt, like it might be a royal language, might be. And somehow this common man, he tries to replicate the burial technique or the ornamental technique of the pharaoh, and he tried to write hieroglyphs, but it has no meaning.
Oh, okay.
So this is like a very strange and interesting discovery. It happened, and it is not of this only one sarcophagus. Like many sarcophagus has been found. It is one example I am showing. So
So just for the viewers, because there is also a lot of people who are simply listening in. Obviously,
hmm,
this is upon YouTube, but also some people just listen in. So,
yeah,
so Debajit is just sharing this picture of this particular mummy, which has sort of has tried to write hieroglyphic writings, but it's not been able to. I think on the website it says usually hieroglyphics inscribed in this portion should bear some meaning, such as the name of the deceased. But here the case is not like that because the hieroglyphics were written in a very nonsensical manner that they could not point out any meaning. Wow, that's so.
yes.
Do you feel so? Basically, what you're saying is that even these writings, these hieroglyphic writings, were sort of done by the royals, were done by the pharaohs, and done by those sorts of people who were only taught these ways of writing, and not to the common man. Is that what we can gather from that?
Yeah, like can I stop
Yeah, yeah,
sharing?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
okay,
sure. Yeah,
okay,
go
okay.
on.
So I would like to point out, give one point. So can you see me now?
I
I
can
am
see your. I can only hear you. I can't see you.
1 minute. Stop sharing. So yeah, I have stopped sharing, but my video has been like, oh, okay, okay. Just a minute. Yeah, it can. So I was
Yeah.
saying that, yeah. So you have pointed out about the use of the royal use of the scripts mainly. So, like there is a possibility it may have happened, because I do not know more about Egypt till now. But in case of India also, I'd like to take example of Sanskrit. It was very much popular
Mm.
in Gupta period, like Gupta kings and their inscriptions were all in Sanskrit. But Sanskrit was not like mass speaking language that time. Okay, so people may have used some local dialects, or like uh, it is not that all time the royal language that should be or that must be the language of the people, or the common people. So in case of Egypt, it may happen, or it also may not happen. But this example which I have shown you, this is an example we can say that no, not all people uh, really knew how to write, or how to do work with the hieroglyphic scripts. And if it was not true, then the hieroglyphic writing should have meaning. But it has no meaning. The
Mm.
epigraphist in the Egypt, they are saying that. So there might be a reason that there is a possibility that people use some local dialects along with the language or script. We
Yeah.
can see it is mainly the script. So with the script, people may have used some local dialect. But that really cannot be, that is really very uh, very much hard to trace.
Yeah.
Mainly the linguistic researchers who are doing their researches in linguistic field. So they are doing this type of works mainly on the basis of the language of the current day people, present day people. So yes, there is a possibility that the royal language or the royal script was different from the script or
The
the
commoner.
language
Yeah.
the commoner.
So there is drawing examples to Sanskrit is so interesting here because I don't know if you know about this person. It's called Amish Tripathi. He's an Indian historian who talks about
Yes,
the amount of Sanskrit texts that are there. Basically, it's so much more than any other civilization ever. I think they're like I think it's like 5 lakh Sanskrit texts that have been recovered, and these are only the texts that have been recovered. There are so many more which we've probably lost in through the years. And he says that, and we still haven't been able to understand most of it right now. So it can very much be that as you are saying that maybe some of the Sanskrit texts that we are also looking at was only done from a small proportion of people who were in the community, and the rest may have spoken dialects or very much similar to something that can happen in ancient Egypt even. So yeah,
yeah,
have you have you have you given much thought to like the whole Sanskrit text? Because I've been going into this rabbit hole, and you are obviously studying Indian archaeology, so
yes,
like the aspect of how like ancient Indians as well, they know so much things about, let's say, the Fibonacci sequence, of how they were actually one of the earlier ones who started to propagate this idea. And even the person who came up with the Fibonacci sequence in his book talks about how he picked it up from India. And there were so many other things that these ancient Indian scriptures talked about that we still haven't been able to encrypt. Why do you think that is? Like,
yeah. So it is the like same point which you have mentioned. So can you just in one sentence repeat the
so
exact
it's
question?
about like there were so many things in like these Sanskrit scriptures, like
Hmm,
right, obviously we know like so many things came out of it. There is Sanskrit scriptures, the Rig Veda, this, that,
hmm,
whatever.
hmm.
So we know like the Chanakya Niti is something in terms of politics. Then there is the Kama Sutra in terms of relationships and sex even. And there are so many other of these books that we've sort of translated into Hindi and English, but there are so many things that get lost in translation. And so do you feel like if we are able to properly encrypt these Sanskrit texts, we will be able to understand what the ancient Indians were probably trying to say towards us, if that makes sense?
Yes, yes, you are absolutely true. and this has been started with during the 18th century. Okay, like in case of India, James Prinsep, he deciphered the Brahmi script, James Prinsep, and at that time, like time in the first half of the 18th century or in the last of the 16th century, 17th century, like mainly the uh, historians or the archaeologists who have been coming from Europe, they were really like no idea about why this kind of sculptures are there, or they were also very much amazed to see Khajuraho temples, like about the
Mm-hmm.
Kamasutra I was talking. So so a misconception first started in India that these are some of the nonsense thing, and people really don't know anything. But with the study of the ancient scriptures, and mainly this work has been started with the Asiatic Society of Bengal, and William Jones played a very important role in that, documenting the scriptures, ancient scriptures, and also the ancient architectures, and then transcripting them, or translating them. So yes, with the translation, the main essence that can be that can be gone, the main essence with the translation. But the translation of the ancient Indian scriptures and distributing it in a worldwide basis, it actually has been done with which period we can which we can describe as the colonial archaeology
Yeah,
mainly.
yeah,
At
yeah,
that time, many people, many scholars, they really did commendable jobs in this aspect. In India, in India, uh, there is a name of a epigraphist, Hulse. Okay, E. Hulse. So he also did some really commendable job on translating the inscriptions, and it actually somehow helped to show the world that no, India, ancient India has something to say, and like this is and it resulted the present scenario, like mm, most people, many people everywhere from the world, they are keenly interested on working South Asia, mainly on the Indian subcontinent,
yeah,
because there
yeah.
are so much thing to study, or so much thing to reinterpret. So yes, this translation of the ancient scripture have been done in the from the 18th, from the 17th, 18th century onwards, and it, I think it somehow helped. Yes, some essence may have been gone of the original text with the translation, but it actually helped to democratize the significance of the ancient Indian society or ancient Indian civilization.
Right. So, what was the point I was trying to make? Like, there was, I think I've forgotten now. There was a point I wanted to make here. But with, oh God, I guess I just move on to another question in that sense.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but what is your area of focus when it comes to the Indian civilization? Is there anything in particular you are looking at? Yeah,
Yeah. So currently I am doing my MPhil. In my masters, I mainly took the subjects of proto-history, as well as the Harappan civilizations and heritage studies. So currently I focus mainly on the proto-history and the early historic period. But and my MPhil work, like I am constructing my synopsis till right now. So it is on the beads, mainly terracotta beads. I am trying to do a ethno-archaeological study to know its purpose and the societal and economic aspects related with that. And apart from that, I have also uh, an interest in the heritage study, and I have also tried to conduct a independent work on the mainly the digitization aspect of cultural heritage, and presented a paper recently in a conference. So mainly I am currently, these are some of the focus areas I am trying to do work, or I am trying
yeah,
to learn also. Yes.
right. So, with the terracotta beads, like, have you come across anything that you'd like to share? Like, what, like, or are you still researching on, let's say,
Yeah,
the economic viability and the cultural
yeah.
viability of
So
that?
I am still actually researching, because I have some field work this year, like around this time, but because of COVID-19
Right.
and lockdown,
Of course.
like
Yeah.
nothing have been happened. Nothing has been happened. So yes, I will. I have some field work. So yes, after some field work, I can make actually
Yeah.
some conclusions about
Right. Right.
this thing.
That's interesting. So I've remembered my question which I had earlier, and it was
Okay.
regarding we were talking about the whole Sanskrit scriptures and how in the colonial age the Britishers started to translate it into English and different languages as well. I think Persian and other languages were also done. So like the question I have here is that like, don't you find it so fascinating that I think I was reading this in *Sapiens*, a book by Yuval Noah Harari, and he talked about when the Britishers actually came to India, they knew much more about India than we as Indians did in India. Because even if we are talking about these Sanskrit scriptures or whatever Indian scriptures, there were these small pockets all across India which did that, but no one really talked to each other amongst themselves and shared, let's say, their knowledge in that sense. Whereas when the Britishers came in, they understood the diversity of India and they knew, let's say, how to navigate through it in that sense. So, like, don't you find that fascinating, or do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, as per my understanding till now, so I can say there were some great misconceptions about like ancient India from mainly the Britishers. Okay, when they came here, because when they came here, they were previously witnessed the hieroglyphic documentation of Egypt, and also in Mesopotamia also, and in the Greek and Roman civilization as well. But in case of India, when they came, they see that there are Purans and the epics and others, and mostly they find that mostly the things are unrealistic. So they thought that Indians had no sense of historical consciousness. Indians has no historical consciousness. But with the further study, it has been revealed that these Puranas or these epics or the other literary works, the Vedas and Upanishads, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, these are some of the great examples of the embedded historical consciousness of ancient Indians. Because ancient India somehow they took a different kind of style, and they embedded their real life situations with a allegorical manner, and they
Mm,
represented it through their Puranas and other things. So this was the first misconception, and even there was another concept that the temples of India was influenced by the pyramids of Egypt, or the
yeah.
architectural specimens of Mesopotamia civilization. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
actually this is how started the study of the ancient Indian history in the colonial period. But gradually it changed, and many scholars from the colonial period, the British scholars and the scholars from other countries, and also the Indian scholars, they started to actually study in a exact unbiased manner. And like currently we know about the richness of the ancient Indian civilization, even with the recent discovery of the oldest specimen of cheese in Harappan civilization. uh,
Oh wow.
yeah, so it has just been revealed with some isotopic analysis that cheese has been like used in the Harappan civilization for the first time. So with cheese we are like in the present age we are enjoying. So
Yeah.
this is how the study of ancient Indian civilization started, but it gradually changed. And in case of what you have mentioned about that, when the British came, they understand this diversity and tried to make out of it. So this aspect I really cannot like much tell about. Like I don't
Mm.
read it about more about. But one thing, yes, I can say that this diversity they obviously use this in their political achievement. And yes, there were many genuine scholars from Britain and other countries. They really did some very great work, like I have mentioned about James Prinsep, and in case of archaeology, Mortimer Wheeler, then Alexander Cunningham, who was the first uh, Director General of Archaeological Survey of India. Or there are also other scholars also. Uh, yes, uh, the starting was not very good, like the in the colonial period of the ancient Indian study, but later it really got serious attention, analytical study, and also the inclusion of the scientific techniques, specifically with the emergence of the new archaeology thought by Louis Binford and Clark, and then it also came in India, the same thought, and after that also the post-processual approach. Okay, so these are some of the advancement which really helped to understand through a holistic under holistic viewpoint.
So I'm still at that point of when you mentioned cheese. So did they really discover that cheese was being used in
Yes.
the so Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization? Which one did you
Yeah,
mention?
like Harappan civilization and Indus Valley are same. Like
Yeah.
mainly, I have been using the Harappan civilization mainly because there are some debates, and there are some like in the initial stage, the site of Harappa was mainly first discovered. So as per the rule in the Academia of Archaeology, so the first site and its name is given to the civilization, and that is why it has been called Harappan civilization.
Harappan civilization.
Then people started to call it Indus Valley civilization because most of the sites were situated alongside the Indus River, okay, in the
Hmm.
northwestern part. And after that, after the independence, after 1947, so Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and many other important Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization sites, they came to Pakistan. Okay, so that time in India there was a urge to find the remains of the Harappan civilization. And when they started to find it, they found so many sites alongside the dry bed of the river Ghaggar, that was the Saraswati river. So and then actually currently the present scenario is like that there are more potentiality of sites in the Saraswati basin rather than the Indus basin. So some people also call it is Sindhu Saraswati civilization, or some people call it only the Indus Valley civilization. So the safest nomenclature I think we should use is the Harappan civilization. It will be no of any confusion, because
Yeah.
like currently many sites, or there are also potentiality of discovering sites. It is happening in the Saraswati basin, and like mainly people thought that it was only around the Indus River, but it is not actually the scene. It was much more expanded, the Harappan civilization. So that is the reason I am also using the Harappan civilization, this nomenclature. Yes.
Yeah.
And this evidence has been found on the basis of some scientific experiment, the exact remains of cheese
Okay.
in the Harappan civilization.
That's interesting. Um, so when you talk about when there are some people who are calling this the Saraswati civilization, or Sind Saraswati civilization. So, and you're talking about certain sites. So, are there, as you mentioned, it's not only in this part of the region, but also different regions. So, which different regions are we talking about? Like,
Yes,
which aspects?
like before the independence, the Indus region is mainly the Punjab area, and mainly
Hmm.
the, if
Yeah.
we can say in case of in terms of Pakistan, then
Pakistan. Yeah.
the eastern side of Pakistan, it is mainly the Indus region, and in the western side we can see the Baluchistan region. So in
Hmm.
the eastern part of the Pakistan, it is the Indus region where there is like mainly the profusion of the in the Harappan sites. And in India, in the Rajasthan and in the Gujarat, present state of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana. So these are some of the areas where the we can find the sites associated with the along with the Saraswati Valley. Even you probably heard of the site of the Rakhi Ghari. It is in Haryana. So currently it is one of the biggest Harappan civilization sites. Okay,
Oh, okay.
along with the Mohenjo-daro. Even its potentiality is more than Mohenjo-daro, but it cannot be excavated because of the present occupation of the villages. It cannot be really excavated. But there also the DNA study has been done, and it has been established that the it is not that the Aryans came from outside and they inhabited. We the people currently the Indian people, our ancestor was there from the Indus Valley civilization. Like it is not that the other people came from outside, like which is known as the Aryan invasion theory. That
Yeah, I
Aryan
wanted to get
came.
into that also.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I am also I am saying this like you want to know about that. So it actually started when it was first given a theory that in Mohenjo-daro there was a heap of skeletons. Okay, so it was first assumed that it is mainly the reason that Aryans invaded. But later, with the scientific study, it has been proved that these are the skeletons of some diseased people who suffered from cholera and other disease. So it may be that their bodies were disposed there in a specific area of the city. um, and no, like if Aryan invasion had been happened, like there is no any remains of any weapons or any evidence of any conflict between two groups. So this actually continued the Aryan invasion theory, like Aryans occupied, and they were mainly the uh, authors of the Vedic culture. But like recently with the DNA analysis from Rakhigari. Like there is also debate with that. Like many scientists, they differ that, but it has been published in the PLOS One. There is a journal, famous journal PLOS One. So there, that article has been published,
Okay.
and about Rakhigari. So they have shown that it is not that the people came from outside and they inhabited. Like our ancestors were there from the, like the Harappans are actually our ancestors. Like it is not
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
Harappans were overthrown by Aryan people and we are the ancestors of that. Yes, there are some mixed population with the other, like outside people, but the most of the DNA, most part of our DNA resemble
Matches
with
with the
the,
Harappan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, Harappan.
Where did the name Saraswati come from? Where did the name Saraswati civilization come from?
Yeah, so name of the Saraswati is many times mentioned in Vedic literature. So it is all many times it is written or it is attributed to a specific specific deity or a specific philosophy, and many times it has been used as a water source or a river. So it has been
Hmm.
used in many ways, but mostly it has been used to attribute a river. But
Right.
mainly initially when scholars started to work on Saraswati river, they cannot find any trace. So with the analysis, with the scientific analysis, with the help of remote sensing, okay, with the help of GIS, they actually currently they have found the traces of the Saraswati river. And when the scholars started to match the location of the Harappan sites discovered in the western part of India, they actually found that all these sites are located on alongside the river, dry bed
Hmm.
of the river Saraswati. So it was there, this river, but somehow it got dried because same happened in the Rajasthan area, western part. Third desert
Yeah.
had been formulated. So this this one.
Okay, that's interesting. Have you looked into the use of psychedelics in ancient India, ancient Egypt, or anywhere in the world? Like, so there is something that's written in the, I think, is written in the Vedas and several other places that the ancient Indians used to drink this potion called Soma. It's like a psychedelic drug which used to take them to a transcendent place. And also in terms of I'm not sure in terms of Egypt if there was a particular thing or not, but I'm guessing there would have been. And in terms of, we were talking about Peru, like they also had something called ayahuasca, which is very similar, which is a drug which took them to a transcendent place. So have you looked into any of these psychedelics and how they may have impacted on civilizations as well?
No, actually, I don't know about it like
Yeah.
many more. But yes, Soma was many times mentioned in Vedas, and it was like not only for the entertainment purpose. It was highly associated with the rituals in the
What do
in
you
the
think it
Vedas.
was? Like, what do you think it was made of? Like, do you have
Yes,
any
there are
understanding of the contents?
yes there are like many actually theories like there are many species scholars pointed out that these species have been used for making the soma or manufacturing soma, but as per my knowledge, like till now what I have read, there is no any certain like point that yes, from this soma has been made, but there are I think some species from Asia Minor region. Some scholar he pointed out that Soma was manufactured from this species only.
Okay. This species, like what? I'm sorry.
Like no, like I can't remember the name of the specific species of that herb, but it was
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So it was yeah. I forgot to
Isn't
mention.
isn't it isn't it also written in some places that there was also an aspect of honey that was put, or something like that? Like you obviously mentioning herbs, but I think there was
Hmm.
something more to that. Like I don't know, some places written barley, some places, yeah. So it's still up for debate in that sense.
Yes, yes, it is actually a debate like till now. Like
Hmm.
the scholar I have mentioned, he pointed out that some species of a herb, uh, it has been used. Its origin is in Asia Minor region, so it has been used for making this soma. So soma many time was also referred to deities or divine
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people. So it was like in Vedas, the interesting thing is many words and phrases have been used to denote many things, not a particular one thing, and that is why Vedas has been interpreted by many
So
scholars
many ways. Yeah.
in so many ways.
Do you feel, because I've seen this connection almost, and I don't know, this may be just a theory that I'm making up, that if you look at ancient civilizations and if you look at them having a sort of religion and them having a god in that sense, it's very close related to those particular civilizations also having psychedelics in them, and them constantly using psychedelics. So the sort of theory that I'm pointing forward over here is that, do you feel that maybe these constructs that we have in terms of gods, in terms of Egyptian gods, in terms of whatever gods we have all around the world, is just something, it's a figment of our imagination through, let's say, the experiences people have had on psychedelics, be it Soma, be it ayahuasca, be it any of these psychedelics that were used in ancient civilizations. Do you think that there is a connection there?
Yeah, so I have really I don't really know about this. Like there may have been some work that has been done on this aspect, but yes, like even if you see in the present day, mainly the tantric sects,
Yeah.
they also use the liquors
Hmm.
in their worship, and they like it is an integral part. So it also may be that uh, this the a specific liquor that can give you a calm state of mind. This concept may have been used by people for so many years that it can be used in the ritualistic purpose or in the worshipping purpose. So this may be a reason, and the thing you have pointed out, that also might be a reason, but I really don't know about this
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah, that's fine. Debaji, this has been a really interesting conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Is there a place where people can find you, like the work you do, your social medias? Feel free to plug anything you'd want.
Yes, so uh, mm, the this blog I regularly write on this blog, the ancientegyptianfacts.com, and I also share through my LinkedIn profile and also my Facebook profile. Even in WhatsApp, I also share this one. And apart from that, as I have not any publication till now, so I cannot say that go in academia there are publications or articles. But yes, the digitization work which I just have done about the digitization of cultural heritage, I have uploaded the abstract of that specific work in my academia, on my academia profile. And these are and I also share the mainly the interesting news in LinkedIn and also in Facebook also. So yes, these are some of the works like I have been trying to do, and I hope that somehow I can contribute some little thing to the understanding of ancient history as well as the ancient civilization. And apart from that, I have a hobby of writing, and that is also one of my personal blog. I write through there, and
You write poetry as well, don't you? You
yes,
write some
yes,
great poetry. Is
yes,
there
not
something you'd want
great
to share?
poetry. Um, uh, yes, like I can show you the. I can actually show you one book. Can I just take it from
Yeah,
there?
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
feel free.
So mainly I write on Bengali.
Yeah, yeah. No
So
worries.
this
You
is
can recite it in Bengali, and then we can you can hopefully
okay. So
translate it
this
as
is
well.
the book. Like this is my book has been published
Oh
in
wow.
2019. So it is a small book consisting of I think 11 poems, all written in like Bengali, and
Yeah. If you
this is
could
the
pick
mainly
anyone and recite it, that'd be great.
in Bengali.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. And then
uh,
you can probably give us a summary of what it means in
uh,
English, because
yes,
I'm actually born in Calcutta, so I can understand
yeah,
Bengali. I may
I
not
have
be able
seen
to
your
speak
profile
it that well.
from Calcutta International School. You have
Yes.
uh, okay. So I am just like it is. I am feeling very embarrassing doing
Don't
this,
worry.
but yeah, I have just speaking one.
Yeah.
So I am speaking in Bengali, so I will then summarize it.
Yeah.
So the name of the poem is Notun Prithibi, and so I am reciting it. Okay. বড়ই বিস্ময় লাগে আজকাল, চারিদিকটা কেমন যেন বদলে যাচ্ছে। চিঠি এখন বিলুপ্ত প্রায়, ইন্টারনেটেই সব চলে। সামনাসামনি এখন আর কেউ কথা বলতে চায় না, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপেই হাই বলে, স্ট্যাটাস দেখেই বিচার হয়। এই তো কিছু সময় আগেও বিকেল বেলার আড্ডাতে টেক স্যাভি ছিল না কেউই, তবুও স্বতঃস্ফূর্ততায় কথা বলতো সবাই, মন খুলে বলতো, আন্তরিকতায়। এখন শুধুই গ্রুপ চ্যাট হয়, সবাই রং পাল্টায়। বয়স এখন সংখ্যা মাত্র, অপমান তার ধার ধারে না। তরুণ তরুণী বৃদ্ধ বৃদ্ধা আজ কেউ কাউকে ছাড়ে না। ন্যূনতম সম্মান আজ সোনার পাথর বাটি। সবাই শুধুই জিততে চায়, কেউ আর নেই খাঁটি। দেখনদারির বহর যত, ততই তুমি শ্রেষ্ঠ আজ। নব্য এ চিত্রনাট্যে অহংকারী চালায় রাজ। So yeah, it has been
Wow, that's
completed,
really nice.
and the name of the it is the Notun Prithivi. Notun means new, and Prithivi is world, so new world. So what I have tried to express here uh, about the fake connectivity of people, like mostly the social media thing and all, and I have been mentioning about the about the chatting in the in the grounds in our childhood days, and also like there is a state of disrespectness against the other people among us. So this is some of the like thoughts I have tried to accumulate here and tried to show that the show off has been become a trademark of like of all
Yeah,
of us
of
in this
society. Yeah,
of this
yeah.
yeah of this society.
That's so very well put, because like I feel in such a similar way, in the way we are sort of just presenting ourselves on social media for the good and bad. Like I feel that social media is a great thing because it helps you connect to the whole world, but then again, there are negatives to it. So aspects that you touched upon right there, that we are losing this sense of touch. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to start this like a podcast, was that there isn't a lot of opportunities for people to just sit down and have a conversation and try to understand what the other person's trying to put forward. It's very much become these sound bites that are put out. So if you are a prime minister, even, you only have 8 minutes to sum up everything that you have to say, because that's the only thing that the TV can represent, or social media even. So yeah, I feel like I totally agree with that. So yeah.
Yes. And so I would like to point one another thing regarding this social media. So in academia, another problem has been raised with the extreme use of social media, and it is a term that is social media scholar. So what have been done, or what is the problem is that, like, there are many opinions right currently, and people are trying to many times trying to use the social media handles to give extreme opinions, and many times the opinions are without references, like it is
Yeah.
just I am thinking and so I am saying. And but I will also not deny that. So it is also actually affecting the not only the study of ancient history, archaeology, but also the, I think, the study of other disciplines also. And that is why I also personally, when I talk to any of my friend or anyone, so I also used to write like these poems or anything in social media in my initial stage of using social media. But then when I learned about the blog writing through this Egypt blog, so I started to accumulate my writings in forms of books, which this is a result of
Yeah.
one from for 1 year I have like invested for this, and then it has been published. And I have also a blog in English, so there I mainly write in English poetry and
Okay.
other things also.
Right.
It is Senoetry, Sceneoetry. So it is mainly thought of combining a scene with poetry. So a
Oh,
photograph is
nice.
there. It is
Yeah.
my own captured photograph. So I have actually hobby of photography also,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
amateur photography, but I like that. With that, I used to give some four line, 5 line, or 10 line writings. So I also recommend other people that if you want to like write something, or if you want to like do audio recording like this podcast, or video recording, so you can choose the blogging platform, or you can choose the podcasting platform. So it will help to connect you with the real audience, because there are like so many audience in social media, like the mainly I am referring the
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I have found LinkedIn so much balanced when I started to use LinkedIn. So I have found it so much balanced and so much helpful also. But in case of Facebook, it has just become currently a chaotic kind of thing. So many of my friends also, they write poems and other historical writings also, and post it on Facebook. So whenever I have a chance to speak to them, I recommend them or suggest them, why don't you write in on
Hmm.
blog? Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to pay anything in the initial stage also.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes, and that
So
is why you are
that's
doing like a great thing about doing this podcast.
no, you touched upon it brilliantly there. Like you touched upon this aspect of, so I feel if you are in academia, it almost becomes like a glass ceiling, because if you are in academia and you're publishing some work, publishing some paper, or research, whatever, it's only given to the people who have access to, let's say, these publications and these journals. And so you aren't really making use of the wider community. So even if you are bringing your academic knowledge, whatever you have research, you have studied, and you are, let's say, able to present it in a blog or in a podcast or in a video, whatever, what have you, then I think you're able to touch more people than simply the people who have membership to an academic journal, if that makes sense.
Yes,
So I think
yes.
that's important.
And this aspect is also known as the public archaeology. Like it is, I think, mostly famous in the Western academia,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
very less famous still now in Indian aspect. But many scholars have
I
been
was
doing
I
this?
was having a chat with someone previously on the podcast. I think his name is Dr. Tadagata Negi. So
Yeah.
he's doing a great job. Like he's done this. I think it's called Heritage Walk Calcutta. So
Yes.
yeah, he and his wife are. I think they're doing a great service in terms of like going to these places in historical Calcutta and other places, and just trying to put an opinion that's other than the contrary, which you wouldn't actually get. So I think there are things coming up. So yeah, let's hope for the best, I guess.
Yes, yes. I have also referred his work in my that digitization research. I have also
Yeah.
like interviewed him, and yes, this kind of like heritage works or this kind of offbeat areas of the core subject of archaeology, the heritage work and the museum studies. These are getting popularity currently, and
Hmm.
because of the this situation, like people are also experimenting. And
Hmm.
another thing I would like to mention that good and bad both this happened. The concept of webinars, it is good, but many times what have been happening, like I have noticed that there are many webinars. They just give you the link, and they will say you that we will give you certificate, and people just register, and they don't attend that. Like many times it also happened with me that I have registered one or two talk at that time, but don't attend that, but after that also they gave me the certificate, so what use I have?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there should be some regulations like uh, you have to present for this time, and
Hmm.
this time
Hmm.
will be measured that you are present, or you have to give this feedback form. Like many webinars started to take the feedback forms about what is your understanding, then they will give you. So this is
Okay.
the good
Yeah.
thing, the webinar, the emergence of webinar in this situation. But these are some of the, I think, misuse also. Like people mainly, many people I have encountered mainly wanting where is my certificate, but don't attend, didn't attend
Right.
the
Right.
webinar
That
at
was
all.
that was something I wasn't aware of, but I'm guessing that that would happen with the world we are living in right now, because everyone's basically doing a webinar, and I
Yes,
think
yes,
that to get majority number of people in, that's probably something that they would say a hook in that sense. So
yeah.
yeah. But Devjit, so it's been great having a chat with you. I hope we can do this sometime again when I'm back in Calcutta, when I'm back in India. So yeah, thanks for coming on. See you again.
Okay, and I would also like to uh, express my immense gratitude to you
No, no,
to
thank you.
give this chance. And yes, it was a wonderful conversation. And whenever you come to India or whenever you come to Calcutta, you must contact me. And if
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
am
sure. Yeah, yeah.
available here, we will surely meet, and we
Have
will
this
have our
again. Yeah,
conversation. Yes, for the second time. And yes, thank you very much, and stay safe there.
same to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.